Hi all, and welcome back to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're new, I'm Aspie Answers. I'm all about creating mental health and autism videos, as well as advocating and educating you all today and in the future based on these topics, along with also sharing you my life stories with autism and mental health by taking you all on a journey when I'm able, and doing other various of videos that you may have seen. So if you're into any of these and more, feel free to smash that subscribe button if you want to join me on the bandwagon with my journey with autism and stuff, to find out more about me as an autistic, as well as turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. So as you will, basically, as I said, I'm doing some quick smart tag videos of every kind, and as I said, some of these tag videos are for future reference so that we can go back and reflect on it later on and see if any of the questions may have changed of an afterthought of certain topics that may have come with some of these tag questions. So some of the tag questions that you may have seen floating about obviously are also based for maybe some people for fun, just get to know me tags and whatever else it may be. But this one I'm going to do right now is called Strength in Numbers tag, which is all about bullying and confidence. And in saying this, also basically that I'll link in the description, as well as hopefully maybe in the video somewhere, the name of the person where I found this video that actually did this tag, so that maybe you can look back on it and maybe do it too. And if you want to join in to do this also, feel free to also just tag me in the description box with the link of the video afterwards, and then hopefully we can encourage and lift each other. As I said, we need to build each other up. So the questions also will be listed below as always. So the very first section of this tag right now I'm going to bring out is all about confidence, basically. So let's begin this. So the very first question on it is, okay, as we know, basically for me, many people have known me now as I've grown up to a young mature woman. I am now sounding more confident with people. You know, I am more like, you know, not confrontational, but I'm more willing to give you guys advice and support regardless what it would be. But there was a time, obviously, as we know, as we sometimes grow through the stages in our life, transitioning probably from a young child to a teen, especially for most of us, that we do tend to have that sensation that we feel unconfident, and that we just feel like at that time that eek, you know, whatever it may be. And the reason for this is, for me, when I was a younger, like when I was coming into my early teens, I felt unconfident because I must admit, well, for many maybe young teens, I always was infatuated about how to look, you know, and how to dress and, you know, speak to people before, you know, getting to know about what was going on about my diagnoses, which I'll link in the description below, as well as in the archive above me about my diagnosis and how that came about if need be, as well as some other videos for future references that you can get back to later on after the video. But in saying this, I knew that something wasn't quite right with me, even though me feeling unconfident, especially because obviously, like, I was one of the ones that tend to fantasize over all these other girls in school, thinking like during my days, especially in high school, that, oh, they look pretty and all this. But then I realized some of the ones that are pretty with the pretty face, that I became a victim to them, and it was really ugly, you know. Like, I feel some people that are pretty can be really brutal and really nasty, you know. That's just from my experience anyway, from what I've been through, just briefly. I've learnt now, despite it all, that I've been trying to build myself up from day one after being knocked down time and time again in my preteens, and especially when I started dating with one of my exes that knocked my confidence over. And at this point in time, I'm starting to feel confident in my own skin, yes, and I'm believing in myself that, you know, you don't need makeup. It's all what's inside of us that makes us us. And then I believe also in saying this that I have my bad days and good days like anyone else, and that in saying this, it's what we make of our life, of the good days and bad days. Are we gonna just sit around and mope around and say, I don't want this, you know, and all this nonsense? You know, you sometimes have that self-negativity up there and whatnot. And however, what makes me confident about myself is the compliments I get from people sometimes if I meet them out on the street, or even and when I do some videos that I am trying to, you know, send a message to you guys of hope or whatever, that builds me up, thinking, oh, thank goodness I'm not alone as well, because obviously in this, basically, I'm feeling confident now about myself also, that yes, I'm starting to strive more into trying to take you out of my comfort zone a little bit more further with my, social anxiety versus my travel anxiety, as you've seen in some of my past videos with Lala, based on trying to get out of my comfort zone and actually face certain fears and stuff. So I am feeling more comfortable in my own skin, but it doesn't mean that I'm fully confident, even if people think I'm outright confident, because every day is a work in progress for every one of us, based on our confidence or whatever we're building upon ourselves to actually be a better person. Okay, next section is all about bullying for this section. So the questions here is, have you ever been bullied, and maybe tell us a story of when you were bullied. I guess basically, again, this will go for number one. Basically, for many of us, will be victims of bullies or whatever it is, victims of being not confident or whatever it may be. I have shared a story about myself being bullied, which I'll link in the description and icon above me. But short story short, I feel to myself like when I've been in high school, especially in those years, was the real difficult time for me making friends. I kept to myself most days in intermediate and high school, especially because obviously I didn't want to get into trouble. I didn't want to fit into some of these cliques that you see, that you're too cool, you're too nudie, whatever other cliques that you may have heard and seen that is still common today. But I guess in a way, do you think that, answer this if you want quietly to yourself, when I was thinking I was getting bullied, was I in the wrong or right when I got called in twice in high school when I was standing up for myself from a couple of guys that I took no crap from, basically? Because at one point I accidentally slammed the locker door on one occurrence, and then the other occurrence of me standing up for myself towards the bully, or even as two more times, was basically when one day after school a guy wolf-whistled at me, cat-called at me and everything else, and that he rode past on a bike. Little did he know, even though he thought I was a little weakling, he was being sexist and everything else, as most young guys would be, about females. And then what I ended up doing, I grabbed his handlebars and I actually swung his bike around while he was still intact onto the bike and threw him onto some grass on the field, which he actually got shocked and amazed and a bit terrified of me afterwards, so he stopped bullying me. And then the third time, obviously I have another story. Basically when I was getting bullied was a group of mean girls. I'm not going to name names of who the head leader was in that, or the name of the school, just to protect other people's privacy in this quick story. Is basically a couple of times she really bullied me to the point of no return. She was the head leader of the group. One time she sabotaged our work that we were supposed to be working together as a team for one of our science projects, and another time when I got bullied was basically with the same group of people, of these girls, was when they put my head in the toilet and stuff after PE, and that after one of the girls were getting so nasty during PE, thinking that I couldn't do any sports because of the way I dressed and the way I looked at that time, so to speak. I must admit, after this story, 3 or 4 stories that I've shared briefly about it, I may have been labelled as a bully, but then again, I might have given my right to be that bully, just to stand up for myself, because I don't tolerate people bullying me or disrespecting me, as basically, or many people may know me now, that I'm trying to stand on my own 2 feet and actually say enough is enough. I do not wish to tolerate it anymore. Okay, number 6 is, whether you're being bullied or you bullied someone, how did it make you feel? How did it make me feel was a whole mix of emotions, basically, just to be honest. I was emotional, I was full of anger, full of self-hate on myself, basically. If I was at fault for some of the ones that I actually self-defended myself, I told myself time and time again with that self-negativity that I should have maybe done something of the opposite scale from that bullying, maybe turning it out to a positive, and actually looking into basically thinking, what can I do better? Okay, number 7, how do you deal with bullying? Any form of advice? Well, okay, as you know, basically, again, as I said, you will go through stages in life, no matter how young or old you are, you'll get bullied. My advice is, if you can, depending where you are, ignore them is maybe the first step if you can. If not, try and see from their perspective why they're bullying you, because some bullies I've noticed in the past, they're insecure of themselves and they tend to just basically knock down ourselves, seeing us happy or whatever we've got. So they may not have got what we've got, maybe a loving home or whatever, because I realised in my time when I've been bullied, basically, that some of the bullies has come from an insecure home, broken down marriages, their parents maybe are drug addictions with the, alcohol addictions, and it's an unsafe environment, so they're trying to create another unsafe environment. If you're in school, if there's any young ones out there, maybe teens or whoever watching, find someone who you can trust to talk about it. Basically, because, it's never right to actually deal this on your own with bullying. Never seize up. Never think it's your fault when you're getting bullied as well, because that's what I've learned. Because obviously there's something going on in their life, and regardless what it may be, they, just going to accept, okay, he or she is bullying me for whatever reason. And also, last but not least, what I've learned now is, if you were angry and that towards that bully, learn to maybe forgive them and move on from it, and just maybe write a letter to them or something, of a letter of forgiveness to them, dear such and such, I know you may be having a hard time, or just try and be their confidant and actually remain calm with them and actually maybe talk it out with the bully, you never know, they might be able to calm down and actually talk to you, sort of thing. See if you can just be the reasoning behind it by just being their, support person, even if you don't want to be friends with that bully. Hearsay. Okay, last but not least in this section of the safe strength in numbers tag is all about inner beauty. Number 8, do nicer people look better to you? Again, this goes reflect back to what I said before about my story time or what have you, about a group of people that looks good and stuff. I believe that sometimes some people that looks better, basically, and sound nicer, doesn't always guarantee to work, because everybody is different. As we know, people change in the way of things, be it and how they dress, speak, think, and act as we transition through life. Of what we go through in our life too can actually affect us in the way of our mental, spiritual, and physical well-being. And in saying this, basically, I believe that in saying that, to me, people that are nicer, it doesn't always come by the outer appearance as well, though. It's what maybe is made of them inside here. But then, like I said, we need to question to why some people are nasty to it. Number 9, does makeup even make you feel prettier? To me, as you know, I'm all again in the flesh with no makeup on. Some days I do feel prettier than others, because this just goes back to the self-confidence thing. Like, some days I might feel I want to wear makeup, some days I may not. So therefore, basically, sometimes makeup, I don't mean to be rude about it, it can be okay for some girls that they want to cover up certain scarring in there, but to me, no. We're all beautiful in our own unique skin. We should be able to be proud of our scars, and that this is a form of advice I want to give to you guys right now. If any of you have got scars, don't hide them. If you want to, be proud and show them out and whatnot. It's up to you though. And number 10 is, what do you think of or about the expression of beauty comes from the inside? I believe this is a true statement, because obviously beauty does come from the inside, because everything is guaranteed in life not going to last, of the materialistic things that we like, be it our cell phones, be it our technological devices of our PCs or our car or whatever. Because obviously beauty comes from the inside. To me, of this expression, on how I feel about it is basically, at the end of the day, it's what the inside matters, and it will last longer, no matter how old we are, and that basically it's us as an individual, how we see ourselves and whatever else that comes with it. So this quickly ends, hopefully, a real quick short video of another tag video. I hope you like this, of the strength in numbers tag. Smash the like. As I said before, feel free to follow me on doing this tag if you want to tag some of you guys. Any one of you that are watching that are interested in doing this, feel free to do so, and tag at Aspie Answers and your video link either via through YouTube or Instagram or wherever you post these videos, so then I can have a look at it and maybe support you guys, and hopefully we can support one another by uplifting each other, because I'm all about it. So I want to question to you guys too about some of these. Okay, what is your advice about people being confident today, basically? How do you feel about yourself being confident? If you are a confident person, what were you like before you weren't confident? So on and so forth. And like another one would be bully. And the bullying section is, you know, if you want to share your story about being bullied, how do you overcome it? You know, why do you think you were bullied, and how do you deal with bullying as a form of advice, to sum it up? And last but not least, for another question to throw at you is to open this discussion board, is basically the last question what I shared. What do you think of or about the common expression about beauty comes from the inside? So, no further ado, guys, thanks for your support, thanks for watching. Do what you love what you're doing. Until next time, Aspie signing out, and I'll see you again soon.